What's the word, y'all? You already know the deal. High Stakes takes back again. Trying to hit that beat perfect. Shout out JB on the beat. Cooking on this Wednesday morning. After a day yesterday, straight biscuits, son, no gravy. That shit was wild. Literally. And I started getting wild with it. So, what did we go yesterday? 2-4? Only 2 picks right with Liverpool. Shout out Liverpool with the dominant victory at Porto. We did say 2 out of the last 3 games on the road versus Porto. Beat them 4-1 in the last one. 2 matchups ago, beat them 5-1. Ended up with another 5-1 victory. I thought it was crazy, surprising. And the lines were probably so close for them to only be favored by half a goal. That was wild. But if you actually look into the games yesterday, bro, Champions League does not play favorites. It does not matter who the fuck you are, how much you know about this shit. It don't matter, right? And if you hit yesterday, send them locks through. I love to see people winning, cashing out and shit. And yesterday, bro, AC Milan, guaranteed lock. You see how those odds were shifting right up until kickoff, and then AC Milan was the favorite again. They should have easily won that game. We said Leao, Brahim Diaz. They were going to start because they were just rested over the weekend. They did start. Leao with the opening goal in the 20th minute. Bro, 9 minutes later, Frank Kessie sent off with his second yellow card. How you get 2 yellow cards in like 10 minutes? Fucked up the whole game. And then they held them. They were up 1-0 until the 87th? End up letting up a goal in the 87th to Griezmann. And then in the 90th +7 of extra or added time, bruh, let up a penalty to Suarez. What? That shit's crazy. I look back at it just to see, like, damn, this day ain't going smooth. Let me go look back at it, see if AC Milan at least won. Nope. But that's how it goes sometimes, man. The over-under on the Ajax game, they should have been up 4-0 going into half. Never mind the shitty second half. It was so boring that second half. You looked at the stats, they had like 6 shots in the second half. They knew they had the game wrapped up. And what was the other game? I think it was, Dortmund. We put the picks out there on Twitter, right? Because I'm a ride with my gut. But we did say, if Haaland does not start, stay away from that game. Dortmund ended up winning 1-0. They had a goal ruled out from Daniel Malen. He ended up scoring again like 2 minutes later. So they should have covered the -1.5. Dominated that game. And we gave you the little latest news on Haaland, how he missed training like right before the game. So he was probably not going to play. So those are always the little tidbits you need to know before you go in there. And then, bruh, yeah, that was it. AC Milan blowing it, red card. Dortmund should have hit the over 3.5. But that was only if Haaland was playing. We made sure to let y'all know that. And then Ajax, bro, they didn't even cover the -2.5, which should have been easy, should have been a given. But the games we stayed away from, Real Madrid losing to Sheriff Tiraspol. What? Inter versus going on the road versus Shakhtar Donetsk. You go over to Kiev, you go over to Ukraine, that shit's gonna get hectic, bro. You know the rules are different over there. So 0-0 draw. That's crazy ass day yesterday. And, I know there was one more. PSG. We did say we might have threw Man City, but we didn't have one of the locks. Right? You get that little feeling. You're like, fuck it, I'm going to stay away from it. Good thing, because Messi scoring that second goal, getting the brace after filthy link-up play with Kylian Mbappe, and you've seen how happy Neymar was. Bruh. That link, if they could get linked up, and it's just going to take time, right? You got so many top players. Like, not just in the league, in the world on one team. They basically made the fucking Heat team from back in the day. I'm surprised they didn't do a whole fucking meeting and all that shit. Little fucking press conference. It would have been hard to understand. I know damn well I wouldn't have known. But that shit gets hectic over there. So, shout out PSG. Big 2-0 victory. RB Leipzig stayed away from it. They go on to lose 2-1 versus Club Brugge. Crazy ass day yesterday. But let's get back into it. Wednesday, hump day. Yeah. Let's fucking go. So the first lock we got today, we kind of gave it to you a little bit yesterday, but we did add a couple more. Atalanta at home versus BSC Youngboy. Most people are going to be skeptical about this game just based on BSC beating Man United. But you have to realize, and this goes for all Champions League games, Liverpool, somewhat of an exception, but not all the time. Going on the road in Champions League is tough. It's tough. Especially Man United going to Switzerland. All them fans, bruh, they rock with their team. Especially when they're in European play, whether it's Europa League, whether it's Champions League, whether it's that new Europa Conference League that I don't know if too many people know about. They don't even have fucking odds available for it. That's how new it is. So, in this game, Inter, they've been shaky. They hadn't been scoring to start the year. Like that 0-0 draw, only one goal versus Fiorentina, one goal versus Salernitana. But coming off back-to-back games with 2 goals, solid game on the road versus Inter, putting up 2. And they were actually up 2-1 before Inter tied it up. So, I'm thinking this game, Atalanta at home, they're playing well. We took BSC Young Boys just minus 400 over the weekend. Good thing because they did not cover the spread. You already know. Shout out the kid. Getting on his grind again. Crazy shit. Monsters. I was off of it for like 2 months. Back on that shit. That shit's not good, but fuck it. Right? Gotta have something. So, in this game, Atalanta versus BSC Youngboy, they never played before. So it's really hard to go based off last matchups. You gotta go how they've been scoring. If you see how BSC Youngboys, they put up goals, man. So, the over-under at 3.5 in this game, guaranteed to hit. Lock it in. And then I'm going to stay away from Atalanta minus 1.5. And that's based on how BSC Youngboys, you can't base the whole thing off how they played. But beating Man United at home, and granted, I'm pretty sure it was because of red card. And because, let's just go make sure. Yeah, Wan-Bissaka early red card right after they scored. Man United should have dominated that game. You have a horrible back pass at the end of the game in the 90th plus 5 to give them the lead. Happens like that sometimes. Champions League has been so unpredictable this year. So, in this game, we're staying away from Atalanta, minus 1.5. We're going to take them minus 250 on the money line. We're going to take the over 3.5. Send it. That game's at 12:45, so early bird gets the worm. You dig what I'm saying? The next game, I think Zenit will win, but we're going to stay away from that one. I think Zenit minus 200. Actually, bro, they were minus 200 just like a half hour ago. Switched to minus 225, so that's probably not a bad bet at all, especially with how Malmo's been playing. But I'm going to stay away from that one. You never really know with Champions League, especially this year. But that next game, we got Bayern Munich versus Dynamo Kiev. Now, Kiev traveling on the road to Germany. Bayern Munich playing out of their mind. They have at least 3 goals in 8 straight games. That is a ridiculous run. Their attacking play. Last game, let me just show you this. Last game, they started Alphonso Davies as a wing player, like a left mid on on that left side, bruh. Versus Great the First. Look at the lineup. Yeah, where's he at? See? Started 3 at the back with Theo Hernandez. And Davies, playing more of attacking play, that is filthy. That's so dope. Because you see how well he gets down the pitch, sends in crosses, and bruh, his dribbling, his step overs, bruh, that boy is nasty. And then Mueller, probably not going to start. He could, depending on how they start their lineups. But I'm thinking Serge Gnabry, he was on the bench, and he replaced Mueller. If you start Gnabry, and granted, Champions League, they might want to have a vet out there, but if they start Gnabry and Marcel Sabitzer, he's not bad at all. He would start on any other team, but when you got Joshua Kimmich, and I guarantee you, Sabitzer could play that right wing, probably better than Pavard. And Pavard, he's more of a right back, but when you go when you basically go 3 center backs with 4 in the mid and then 3 attacking, it gets tough for a player that's mostly defensive minded. And Pavard, he has some offensive skills, could get some crosses in, had an ill goal last year, or had an ill goal, I think, in international play last year, a couple of years ago. Filthy rocket to the corner, but not really his main thing to do. Not really what he's best at. So I'm looking for this game, them to at least start Sabitzer on that right side. They signed him from RB Leipzig, and then what? You're not hardly gonna play him. He's honestly a hell of a player. So for this game, in Kiev, right, shutouts in 4 out of their last 5, play solid defensively, but Bayern Munich, different animal. And with Bayern Munich favored at minus 1,400, still. Because sometimes that could change. Like we just seen with Zenit, that could change within minutes. Oh, put that on silent. So for this game, we're going to take the over 3.5, and we're going to take Bayern minus 2.5 again. And they should have covered both. But last game, getting that red card right after halftime. Red cards will kill you, right? Red cards will absolutely kill your bet. So just got to hope that they don't do some dumb shit. And I'm pretty sure Pavard, he got a straight red in that game. Let me just make sure. Yeah, right after half. Bruh, 3 minutes after half, straight red card. Damn. That boy, he definitely won't play this game. Dead ass. So, Bayern playing out of their mind. Lock in Bayern minus 2.5 and the over 3.5. I think Kiev might get a sneaky goal in there, but you could lock in Bayern with at least 4 goals in this game. So, 2 locks for that Bayern game. Send it. The next one, we didn't have added yesterday as part of the parlay. Man United versus Villarreal. Now, people might be staying away from Man United just based off how they played versus BSC, but that red card is huge. So this game, one of the sneaky stats for this game is Villarreal. They're plus 550, but they've only won 1 game this year out of 8. Only 1 win for a team that played Chelsea well in the Super Cup. That's crazy. And Man United, on the other hand, they haven't scored in back-to-back games. And those were both home games, too. And granted, West Ham, that was, the Carabao Cup? It was either the Carabao Cup or the FA Cup. I'm almost positive it was the Carabao Cup. Didn't play much of their starters. Ronaldo definitely didn't play. But the Aston Villa, let's just see how well they dominated. Yeah, what? 28 shots to 7. And then you only have 1 more shot on goal. They have to be more prolific and clinical in front of net. I think they will. That was probably one of them games where you didn't start your starters last game. They're coming off basically a whole week not playing together in actual matches that matter. Like, yeah, they could play together in training, but that's just big different. So, holding basically 60% of possession. Should have won that game, obviously. They dominated. I'm thinking in this game, playing Villarreal. Villarreal, only 1 win on the year out of 8. And if Man United didn't get that red card versus BSC, they would have dominated that game. Granted, they only had 2 shots, but that red card in the 35th minute, right? Yeah. Bruh, you aren't going to do shit after you get a red card, especially in the Champions League. All these teams, they're playing top notch, and it's a different breed when you get into European play. So, Man United at home, got Old Trafford, Villarreal traveling on the road. I'm thinking in this game, we're going to stay away from the over-under. It's at 2.5. And let's see if it shifted at all. Man United minus 225. I think that's the lock for this game. Let's just see what the over-under, yeah. That hasn't shifted at all with the odds. But we're going to take Man United minus 225. Them being favored by 2 goals, it might hit. But you never really know. If Villarreal get a sneaky goal, and granted, they're missing Gregor Moreno, it's tough. That's their top striker. And granted, I think they got, Paco Alcacer, something like that. I should make sure. And the draw versus Real Madrid, that's not bad at all, especially on the road. Oh, yeah, Paco Alcacer, solid. But the rest, like, come on. You think Abio is going to stop fucking Ronaldo? You think Pau Torres is going to stop fucking Ronaldo? And where Ronaldo's flying. And Jadon Sancho, not the best season so far, especially after coming over from Dortmund for that huge signing. I think in this game, he's going to get out. He's going to get going. I can't wait till Man United get Rashford back, but that's going to be a little bit. But this game, lock in, Man United minus 225. And my last lock of the day for the Champions League. And the rest of right after the Atalanta game, the rest of these games are at 3 o'clock. So you have a little bit of time, but that little bit of time could mean the odds are changing, not in your favor. So if you get it in early and you don't have to worry about injuries like you did in that Dortmund game, get that in early before it switches. So in this game, the last lock of the Champions League, we got Wolfsburg versus Sevilla. Now, Sevilla, they haven't lost yet this year. Compared to Wolfsburg, where Wolfsburg dealing with injuries. Even though they are at home, I'm not too worried about Sevilla traveling on the road. El Nasiri, he's out for this game, but you already know Campos is starting. Pau Gomez, probably going to start. And in the last game, they rested some of their folks. Still won 2-0, but rested some of their folks. Like, if you look at their bench, that's not even... Pau Gomez, or Papu Gomez, on the bench. Eric Lamela on the bench. So, they'll definitely be starting in this game. Ivan Rakitic, monster in the midfield. And their 2 center backs, Diego Carlos and Koundé, bruh, not letting up a single goal, I guarantee it. High stakes takes guarantees. And that was even with Delaney getting a red card. And what minute did he get that? 65th minute, and they still scored another goal after that, which is, that's solid. That means they're linking up perfectly. And I'm thinking, especially they put Lamela in, Barsuso, solid. So this game, we're taking Sevilla. Now I want to take them plus 150. I think that's a guarantee to hit, just like AC Milan yesterday. But -0.5, that's plus 155. So that's the lock of the day for this one. The over-under's at 2.5 with the over at plus 130. We're staying away from it. It's going to be tough to score on the road. I can see a 1-0, 2-0 victory for Sevilla. But Wolfsburg letting up 3 goals to Hoffenheim in their last game. That's rough. And only 1 win out of their last 5 games with 3 draws in there. And they played who? Frankfurt, who doesn't have Andre Silva anymore. They played Hanover. Well, that's club friendly, so stay away from that shit. But drawing on the road versus Lille. Lille has a good defense, but to not be able to score versus a Ligue 1 team, come on. So the locks for this one, I'm locking in Sevilla -0.5 at plus 150 odds, or plus 155. It'll probably change to plus 150, but send it. You already know. You see how back cooking on this Wednesday home day. And MLS locks. There's a full slate of MLS games tonight. You got the first one I got for y'all. Atlanta United at home versus Inter Miami. Now, if you look into this game, you got Inter Miami, who has had a tough year. They're 10th right now. They have 9 wins, but they've also lost 11 games and given up 40 goals so far. That's a ridiculous stat. And Atlanta United, they probably have a way better record if they made that Araujo move in transfer earlier. But getting him from Lille, if Josef Martinez, if he does play in this game, and that was probably the only reason that they didn't end up winning last game. They lost 1-0 on the road to Philly. And letting up a late goal in the 71st, played well that whole game. Let up 18 shots, but held 51% of possession. And Luis Araujo, absolute beast. Ezekiel Barco, beast. So, say Josef Martinez doesn't play in this game, I think it could get tough. And I'd only lock in Atlanta -190. But if Josef Martinez does play, I'm going to lock in Atlanta United -1.5. Especially with how Inter's been playing this year. And Inter, they've let up 9 goals in their past 2 games. That's insane. And granted, even though Atlanta United lost 1-0, didn't score versus Philly, they've scored 10 goals in their previous 3 games, winning all 3 at home. So I think this is a guaranteed lock, for sure. So for this game, lock in only if Josef Martinez plays. And bro, I was looking yesterday. We said Batshuayi, like Besiktas was dealing with crazy injuries, like Pjanic out. All of a sudden, this shit's showing me that Batshuayi is not going to play. I'm looking at the fucking game. Who do you see at striker for Besiktas? Batshuayi just dipping. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? But I also thought that would play in more to the over. Maybe he'll get a sneaky goal, but Champions League yesterday, sometimes it happens like that. You go 3-0 on Monday Night Football, hit the 2-team parlay, and Dak throwing for 3 tutties. Probably could have had 4 or 5 with how well they played. I'm actually scared as a Panthers fan. Going into next week, a 1 o'clock game versus Dallas. My top waiver ads of the week. One of the defenses was Dallas, even though Carolina's my squad. You gotta read. You gotta read it, right? Fantasy plays no favorites. Doesn't matter who your favorite team is, who your favorite player is. Play who you think is gonna do well. We called on a DFS breakout game at 6,000 for Saquon Barkley. Now I'm gonna go look at, because we said Saquon Barkley, we said at 6,000 you will not get him for that low of a price, and that's value. He produced, scored a tutty, had yards through the air, dipped down the ground for at least I'm pretty sure almost 50, if not eclipsing 50. But he didn't go over 60, I'm pretty sure. But getting those total yards is solid. Now if we go to NFL for this week, and if we're looking at Saquon Barkley, right? Ezekiel Barco for Atlanta United, Ezekiel Elliott for the Dallas Cowboys. That shit's crazy. That shit's crazy. But, so for running back, if we go look at Saquon Barkley right now, $6,900. His price jumped $900. Now, that's not as valuable, right? Those little things you got to look at, see their price changes. Players who are still, like we've seen James White. Granted, he got hurt in his last game, but still at $5,400, that was still value, especially for a running back that's going to get touches. So that's little things you got to look at, but I just wanted to show you how those prices change in DFS. But for this game, only if Joseph Martinez plays, lock in Atlanta -1.5, and that's good value right there. At plus 150, that's hell of a value right there. But if he does not play, Atlanta United -190, and I'm gonna stay away from the over/under at 2.5. But if Joseph Martinez does play, I will take Atlanta United -1.5 and the over 2.5. And you have to watch the lineups. All soccer lineups drop an hour before kickoff. So just to make sure, and as soon as those lineups drop, those odds get to shifting. So sometimes it's good to get it in early. Sometimes, like if you're only missing one player and you got a bunch of solid players around, like Marco Reus, he played yesterday. Probably one of the reasons why they got the victory, but Haaland out. One of the main reasons why it didn't hit the over 2.5, and why it shifted down from 3.5 to 2.5. So good to see how the odds are shifting. A little insight onto that. And then the next game we got Montreal at home versus the New England Revolution. Now, the Revs are plus 165 on the money line. Let's just go see if that shifted at all. It probably will by kickoff, if we're being honest. See, plus 165 right now. It's a later game at 7:30 tonight, so it'll probably start to shift around noon. Because you got to think, if we're Eastern time and noon is really what, 9 o'clock over on the West in Pacific time, we got that locked in now. But you see that over under at 2.5, bruh. With Montreal, right? They're coming off a 2-1 loss at Columbus. They won their previous 3 games. That's why in this game, I'm going to stay away from New England Revolution on the money line, even though they did come with that big 3-2 victory last game, especially not starting Buchanan or Boo. But I'm thinking in this game, in this meeting between Montreal and New England Revolution, there's been at least 3 total goals in 5 of the last 6 meetings. So for the over-under to be at 2.5, I think that's going to shift to over 3.5 at plus 140 odds. So get that in early for sure. Doesn't really matter who starts. There's going to be goals in this game. And with New England Revolution just barely being underdogs, we're going to lock in for this game New England Revolution plus 0.5 to either draw or win. And we're going to send the over 2.5. Let's go. Send it. And only 3 MLS locks, especially when you got the whole slate. I chopped it up, looked at all these games. It's tough. The last lock I was going to give was LAFC versus Portland Timbers, over 2.5. That over-under is actually at 3.5. And with LAFC missing so many players, including Vea, we're going to stay away from it. But the last lock for the MLS slate, we got DC United at home versus Minnesota United. And since Reynoso has came back from Minnesota United, they've been playing out of their mind. If we look here, back-to-back shutout victories, 5 goals in their past 2 games. I'm almost positive he did not play versus Kansas City. Yeah, he's not in there. But as soon as he came back versus LA Galaxy, 2 goals in the first 20 minutes. Absolute monster of a player. And even though Minnesota is on the road, 2 out of their 3 total meetings have hit over 2.5 goals. Granted, the last meeting, DC United, back in 2019, don't have the team they have now. And DC United, they get after it. 4-2 victory versus Cincinnati. Scored 20 goals, or there's been 20 total goals in their past 5 games. Minnesota United, on the other hand, back-to-back shutout victories, but their last 2 away games they've lost and haven't scored. But that was also without Reynoso. So with the over-under at 2.5, minus 130, that's definitely going to shift to at least like minus 150. So for this game, I think Minnesota will at least draw or win, but we're going to stay away from it. DC United is a slight favorite at minus 127. And those weird odds, once you get non-even, like not even as in number, but I'm talking like minus 125 or minus 30. Once you start getting into like minus 128, it's fishy. It gets sketchy, right? So I think for this game, we're looking for goals. Over 2.5. Oh, actually, what? That has actually shifted down, right? Just 10 and moved from minus 145 to minus 135. Little sketchy to see where the money's going, but guess what? If we going against the grain, what else is new for the High Stakes Takes podcast? Back again on this Wednesday. Last lock of the day, we got over 2.5 in that DC United versus Minnesota United game. Let's fucking go. Right? How many locks we got for you? Total picks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 locks for today. Now we said, bro, we could go 0-10. Right? Yesterday we lost 4, only hit 2 with the Liverpool and the over. Bro, you could lose all of them. But guess what? If you're in there for the long run, right? You don't panic over a couple locks. Like, bro, I think I was looking at, right? Because we're just building up the account and shit. I think 38 followers yesterday before the locks. Bro, we don't post. The only one we didn't post hit, right? Or the only 2 we didn't post hit. And I don't even know why I posted the Dortmund one, because I seen Haaland not playing, right? So it made no sense. But especially when I said that on the pod, do not play it. I don't even listen to my fucking self sometimes. But before the over-under, before the picks yesterday, yeah, the over-under on my followers was 38. But that shit hit the under. Dropped down 1. I don't know who the fuck unfollowed me, but that shit's mad funny. They probably sent all 4. And that's another key thing. Bet responsibly, right? Don't be fucking stupid. And you got people out there throwing their whole check on it. Like, bruh, if you haven't built up at least a month worth of revenue from betting, bruh, you cannot be throwing hella money on this shit, right? That shit's hectic. And shout out Joe. Absolute animal with it, right? Some live bets here and there, some parlays, some prop bets. That boy, we're going to have to get him on a podcast soon. And shout out T-Foles, hitting the pod with the retweet. Deadass, always love. Joe said he shared it on Facebook yesterday. Shout out to the new subscribers. Deadass, this is just a slow marinade. Wait till next year to see where that shit goes. Deadass, I cannot wait to see it. And so that's the locks. We're going to give you a quick little rundown of all of them again today. Atlanta United, minus 250, plus the over 3.5 versus BSC Young Boys. Bayern Munich, minus 2.5, plus the over 3.5 in that game versus Dynamo Kiev. Man United versus Villarreal. We're going to take Man United minus 225. Wolfsburg versus Sevilla. We're going to take Sevilla minus 0.5. That's at plus 155 odds. Now, that's one we said will probably shift. So, let's go see quickly if it did. See, Wolfsburg now moved to plus 190. So, this handicap bet, that's definitely going to shift. So, get that in early. We always said, if that minus 0.5 is better odds or will make you more money than just that money line, it's the same fucking bet. So send that shit. MLS locks, 3 on the slate. We got Atlanta United, minus 1.5 if Josef Martinez plays. If he doesn't play, we got Atlanta United minus 190 at home versus Inter. Montreal versus New England Revolution. We're going to take the Revs plus a half and the over 2.5 in that game. And last lock for this Wednesday, we got DC United versus Minnesota United. Send that shit. Let's go. We got the over 2.5 in that game. Let's have a day. And shout out all the folks viewing the pod, right? Viewing the story, viewing all the latest locks. Like, it don't matter. If we straight biscuits on a day, they ain't even add the gravy. Fuck it, right? It don't matter. Well, it does matter. That shit, trust me, behind the scenes, I'm like that meme, right? Where you show happy face in the front and then it shows on the side. It's like just, right? Dude, hella heated. I almost slipped up there. Boys about to get canceled. But let's go. It's been hella, bruh. I can't even remember the last time that this shit really didn't go crazy for us. So, hell of a run, honestly. We actually lost track. Like, I think before the weekend, bro, we were on like 33 hitters in like 13 days or something like that. Adding all the hitters from over the weekend and the Monday night, bro, we lost track. We lost track of that shit. And it would look so good. I'm gonna have to go back, look at how many we hit, and actually give the accurate stats, or accurate, shout out DJ Khaled. And kicking it like karate on this Wednesday. Let's get to it. Shout out JB on the beat. Let's send that one time for him. And that's how we ended the show. Let's get to it. Hey, where's that beat him? Where's that beat him? Let's go. Haha.